Hi folks, start of a new week, so I've decided to put the moment on the back burner for now, and I've sort of decided to jump headlong into my Dodge because at least I can sort of fossick around and I'm not going to get roasted to death. As you can see, the cab has sort of been propped up almost like a hood being, sort of opened up. It's got a few lengths of wood that I've stuffed underneath it just so that I can prop it sufficiently enough up or diagonally so that I could remove the steering column, because the steering column has now gone. You can see it used to be on the right hand side and it is now in the process of being stripped down. I suppose I should I'll just wander over and show you what we've got. Here she is. Steering box, steering wheel, wobbly steering wheel, and here's the box here. I've taken off the steering bracket, the mounting bracket, which sits here, and opened up the inside, and I think it's the sector shaft. It's basically the bit that sort of sticks out like this. I've taken that off and it was absolutely caked in the most filthiest, most revolting grease I've ever seen in my life. It was just like a sort of a mass of gelatinous crap, and there's some of it on a wrench, so you get some idea of how gross it was inside. Yeah, the problem I've got with this is that, well, I've since learned that the mounting bracket that was on the steering box is in fact for a right-hand drive vehicle. I had no idea that they had two different types of brackets. I thought a bracket was a bracket. There's the bracket, see? And believe it or not, they are not interchangeable. You can either put one on the right hand side of the vehicle or you can put it on the left, which is where it's supposed to go. And these little holes here are where that bracket is supposed to go, and then the steering column goes through here, through the firewall or the floor of the cab, and then it should come out of there. Since this is a left-hand drive vehicle, I thought, well, it makes sense to try and return the steering column back to the left-hand side, however challenging it's going to be to drive a left-hand drive vehicle in a right-hand environment, because everyone drives like they do in the UK or places like that. So anyway, that's another problem for another day. So that's why the cab looks like it's sort of propped up, which it is. While I'm doing that, I'm trying to free up the block. Here's the T214, which is the bog standard engine that the Dodge weapons carriers used during the Second World War. Lovely engines, they sound great when they're running the way they should. They purr. It's a beautiful noise actually, but she is not budging. Here's your 6 cylinders, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 pistons, 2 are in the up position, the other 4 are in the down position. About a month or so ago, I decided I was going to follow some handy tips that other YouTubers had given me on how to try and free up the pistons. So a variety of different things. You can use acetone, a mixture of acetone and ATF, which is transmission fluid, or you can use diesel, either or. I've used both. And you can see, if you look into the bores themselves, they are empty. There's just a few dead bugs that committed suicide when they were full. All of the fluid has since seeped through, which is a good sign. That means that the pistons are free and the rings haven't seized to the bores. So, tick box. So, why isn't she turning? Well, the only conclusion that I can reach is that these valves, you've got your exhaust valves, and I forgot what the other ones are called. Inlet valves, that's right. So, exhaust valves, inlet valves. You can see you've got 2 valves to each piston. So I would imagine, my maths not being one of my strongest suits, I reckon that's 12. They look like they're stuck. I don't know how. You see there was a lot of surface crap on top of them, rust. I think what happened was at some stage somebody took the plugs out, left the hood up and didn't put the plugs back in again, and water has run through into the valves themselves, and that's why they're all crusty and they don't move. So that's I think the sticking point. I think that's why the engine isn't turning. Now, about a week or so ago, I decided to take off. Sorry about my camera skills, they're pretty dodgy. If you have a look here, you can see the valve springs. I think the bottom things are called tappets, but please correct me if I'm wrong. I'm still learning. On the job training this is. Anyway, this is the valve bay, I guess, valve house. But there are two covers, two protective covers, and I managed to get both of those off. And actually, the inside isn't as bad as I would have thought. It's quite clean. It's a bit dirty, a bit dusty, but otherwise, look at that. There's shiny metal. So what could it be? Yep, I think I'm going to go with my initial theory, which is that the valves are simply stuck at the top. And until I can free those up, this old engine ain't gonna turn. But there you go, there's the socket on the crank nut. And there's a bloody great big breaker bar on it as well. And that won't move. So apart from that, the other stuff that I've been doing really is sort of cosmetic. You can see here that my mate Farmer Joe, who I'm always cursing about, has welded another one of the support struts for the front guards, the fenders. And you can see here he's welded all the way along there. He's even welded this in here. I mean, that is one of the worst welds I've ever seen in my life. But this should have been bolted. It should have 2 bolts that go in here, and then there's another strut, if you like, here, or plate, and that runs along here, and then that's where the back of the fenders go. So I managed to get that off. Here's the running board struts as well. They're in a dreadful state. They're all wonky, and yep, you guessed it, my mates actually managed to weld some of those in as well. Never been able to figure out why, because all he needed was 2 bolts. But anyhow, it is what it is. He did what he did, and now it's up to me to try and see if I can try and get them off without destroying them. The struts, sadly, running board struts, are full of eels. There's another one you can see, and inside here, of course, which is where the water runs, it's collected over the years, and it's pretty much rusted out the bottom of these. So even if I do get them off safely, there's a good chance that I probably won't be able to use them. But look at this. Look at how wonky that is. See? They're supposed to be straight. Same deal with this. They're all over the place. Looks like it's taken a pretty hefty bump at some stage, and it's just pushed the running boards back. What else? Parts. I've got some new goodies. I don't know whether I mentioned this one before. That's all part of the exhaust. So that's the tube that runs from the inlet manifold and exhaust manifold just here, and then it's supposed to go underneath there, and then it eventually leads into the exhaust muffler, which sits on the right hand side, so the passenger side of the chassis, and you can see the bolts where it would all bolt in. That's the only piece that I've got so far, because it's about a $250, $300 exercise trying to get the whole exhaust, unless you can get someone else to make it for you. So I don't know what would work out cheaper. That's about it, guys. Nothing much else to report, really. So the engine obviously is the #1 priority, and that's why I'm hoping that if I can clean these valves and I can get a bit of movement on the valves up and down, that might just break her, and then I can get those pistons moving, and that would be a really exciting day. I'm hoping that that's going to happen, well, this week, maybe next, who knows. That's about it, guys. Not terribly exciting. It all looks pretty ugly at the moment because it's just in a state of undress, as you can see. Yeah, so until the next time, and hopefully I'll have some good news, and this engine's turning, which is something I'm really looking forward to. That's it, guys. That's a wrap. Thanks for watching. Please feel free to subscribe if you want. Sorry that I haven't put much content on, but you know, life gets in the way. Take care all. Bye.